to Country Basket Weaving. I'm your hostess, Sandy Atkinson. Today we're going to be working on our Oriole basket. Your material pattern for today is as follows. You're going to need an Oriole basket frame, 1/4 inch flat, 4 millimeter of caning, and number 6 round. Notice that there is no cut pattern today. Everything is cut as we work on it. We're going to start out with our frame. You can purchase this at your local craft store. And I'm going to start out with my caning. I like work with caning. It's a very pretty reed. It has a right and a wrong side. The shiny side is our right side, so it makes it very easy to find. We're going to start here. This is going to be called number 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to start at 1, cross over, 2, and go behind 2. Cross over, and go behind 3. Cross over 2, cross over 4, and go behind 4. Now, this is where our variation starts. Let me pull this in a little bit tighter. I'm going to take this tail, and I'm going to lift it up and insert my piece here underneath it. Then I'm going to go around 1. You'll need a knitting needle or a screwdriver for the next part. I'm going to skip over this piece here, and I'm going to go under here. So I'm going to get my end. I like to put a point on this end so it travels for me. And we're going to insert this here and pull it through. Tighten it up and go around 2. Again, find your end over here, and you're going to go under here. Use your knitting needle to open that up. Come in here and insert it there and pull it. Okay, I've gotten a twist in it. Okay, it's okay. Now this is my tail, so I'm going to come back and give it a tug. And go around 3. Again, I'm going to skip over my first piece and come in here, open this up. Now it's going to get tighter with each row, and insert it in my second overlap here and pull. Okay, and around 4. Find your end, come in here, and lift up this one, which is your second piece over, and insert it. And this is where you're going to catch that tail. And make sure you go on top of that little tail so it won't pop out later on us. Bring this down. Now, if that tail's in the way at this point, you can come in and clip it off. Not too short, we don't want it to pop out. Go behind and under number 1. Find your tail again. Come up here and lift this one up and insert this in here. Sometimes it's going to give you a hard time. Get the tip of that out. Okay, my tip is splitting on me from working it, so I'm going to cut it off. See if that doesn't travel better. There we go. And pull this through. You need to do 5 rows. We're going to count our rows on the back. Again, I'm going to move, this is my crossover piece. I'm going to kind of move it back out of my way, but make sure I'm on top of it when I come across here. Come in here and open this piece up. And stick it down in there. Can you see the pattern that's starting to form? Again, my piece is splitting up here, so let's go down and cut that off. Hard to work with a piece that keeps splitting on you. This basket comes from Appalachia. It's one of the oldest forms that they found in the area. It's picked up the name Oriole basket because it's shaped like an oriole nest. and around. Bring this one over so it doesn't get in the way, but make sure you're on top of it. And insert this one and pull it through. Tighten down your pattern here and circle around and go around here. We're going to count our rows on the back. I have done, I can get you a shot here, I've done 3 rows on this side and 3 here. I'm over here now working. I'm down here where I've only chose 2. I've circled around. Skipping over the piece I just brought around, open this up and go behind. That finishes up my 3rd row. 5 rows seems to fit in here just nice, the way the handle is made. And again, I'm going to speed up just a little bit. Work that piece through. When you stain your baskets, the caning does not stain near as dark as the reed takes the stain, so it makes the caning stand out. I think it makes it really beautiful. And that piece goes in there. Tighten this up now. And bring this around here. Again, I'm going to skip over that one. Come in here and open that up so I can get that piece through there. This God's eye is going to take you much longer to do than just the regular one. But then you want to take your time, do a nice job on it. Always pays to take your time. Okay, to finish this up, I want you to do 5 rows. Over here I have started this God's eye. I'm at the point where I have 5 rows. I've counted my rows on the back. I'm going to come across here and I'm going to wrap this down 3 or 4 times, come to the inside, take my piece back up a couple of rows down here and give it a pull. Tighten it up. Come back and tighten this up with your fingers. And then come in here and clip off your tail. Okay? The next one, I have both God's eyes set on this one. Now we need to add our ribs. I have my number 6 round. This really doesn't need to be wet, but you will need to put a point on it. Again, some people like to take a pencil sharpener and sharpen it. We're going to stick this piece up in here, and it doesn't hurt at all to stick it up between your God's eyes at this point. That's going to hold it in there tight. Come around the basket here. You can put a clip on it if you like to get the shape of it. Come up here and give yourself a little bit of space for sticking it into the God's eye and cut it with a point on it. When I cut one piece, I always have to cut an identical one for the other side. This is in the egg basket family, made very similar to the egg basket. It has a mirror image, and we're going to treat it as though it's 2 baskets now. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. Go ahead and insert our pieces here, and again, go up between the God's eye there to secure it in. We can go back later and pull it down. Same thing on this side. Okay. Kind of bring it out just a little bit. This is my longest rib right here that I'm putting in. And we're going to stick that up on the other side. When I start one of these baskets, I have to remember to always do it 2 on each side. Do them in multiples of 2. Taking another piece, let me put a point on this end too. Our next piece is going to be about this. See how we're making these loops? We're making loops, and they're kind of droopy loops, as you'll see as we make this one. This one worked out to be the right size, so I'm going to put a point on it, measure out my matching piece, and go ahead and stick these pieces in. Stick it right up in that same spot. And this one. Taking out my 1/4 inch flat. Again, I like to start with a flat end. Right and wrong side doesn't matter anymore. Okay, I'm going to start on your 1/4 inch. The right and wrong doesn't matter because of the turns that you do. I'm going to start on top, always on top of my centerpiece, and going underneath here. But I'm going to cheat a little bit and slide it in this way. And under, and this time I'm going all the way to my rim. Looping over my rim, coming back in here. And this time when I'm coming from the right, I will be going underneath my center rim. Over the next one, kind of pack it in here tight a little bit. Separate these two spokes or ribs. Come down in here and go around my rim. These are going to pop out occasionally. Just take a minute and put them back in. Come back around. When I come from the right, or pardon me, when I come from, as I look at the basket from my left to my right, I will be always going over the center rim. To do one row, you are going to start in the middle, come up to this rim, come back to the middle, go to this rim, come back to here, and that's one row. See how it looks like 2 rows, but it's actually 1. We're going to go ahead and put in another row. And this will help secure it in. And then after this, we would switch to the other side and do another row, another 2 rows on the opposite side of our basket. Okay, and we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Again, I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to cheat a little bit and loop under this one first. So I'm always starting on top of my center, bringing this around, dividing up my ribs as I go, packing these in tight. Got too much of a gap over here, so I'm going to come back and pull it. Spreading out my ribs, dividing them so they're working individually. See how much easier this side is to put in because you've already secured it on the other side. And around. One more row. I think you'll find it easy to work this basket on your lap rather than on the table. And to the other side. Remember, 1 row looks like 2. And then I'm going to stop right there. Now, what I need to do, obviously, is add some more ribs. So taking our 6 with a point again, we're going to come in here, and I'm going to start up here, insert this piece right up here, hide it under my God's eye, and do a loop in here. Can you see how I'm looping this? It's kind of droopy loops is what I know that sounds funny, but that's kind of the way it looks. So I want to keep it about a 2 finger-inch space, and we're going to come and cut it here. Now I have to pull it out and cut the identical one for the other side. We're always going to add them in multiples of 2, so I know I have to come back and add another one yet. You can add 4 or 6 or 8 at a time. Let's put another one in here. Okay, points on it. This is too short. Let me get another piece of number 6. Points on it. The shape of this basket was created so that it would fit right next to a mule or a horse as people traveled. They carried their eggs in it. The top is small so that the contents or the eggs wouldn't fall out. The history on baskets is always interesting. They pop out, put them back in. Okay, let's go ahead and add Let's go do another row so we can divide these, and that'll better tell me where I need to add some more. So we're going to do another row. This one's come back out. Now, if that happens, take your original two. These are the two that I added here. Because this one came away from my center, I don't want to go over these yet. I'm going to start my row always going to the right. Now I'll come in and I'll divide these up. And because I've added two, that puts me right back on my pattern, or in multiples of two. Turn your basket. You'll be working this one upside down and left to right, every which way. Pack your rows in tight. And now I'm running out. And this is a good spot to run out. I'm away from my corners. So I'm simply going to go in and get another piece. And I'm going to hide this end under here. Now it doesn't hide very well, but I'm going to put the end under there and keep right on weaving. I'll weave right on top of the old piece that I ran out of. I want you to keep working this until we have all of our ribs added, and doing a row in between each of your ribs as you add them, because that helps space them and tells you where you need to add more ribs. Okay, I'm going to quickly go up to this one. I'm going to pretend like I have done the other side and go ahead and add more ribs at this point. But what you would need to do is do the same number of rows on the other side to match up the rows that we've done on this side. Let me pin this out of the way down here. Okay, let's add some more ribs. I know I'm going to need a rib up here. And again, we're making them kind of droopy. Cut my match. I think we've got just about enough. Probably need two more on each side. I always go ahead and insert these new pieces as I cut them so I don't confuse on where they should go. Now see, that one needs to be a little shorter. It's too close inside to the one I just put in. Much better. Which means I'll have to adjust over here. Try to hide that under the God's eye. I need to add another one. I could add another one in here. I've got an awful large gap there. So let's add our second set in there. I'm going to measure it. It's going to be the same height as the first one I put in, because that's the bottom of the basket. Pull it out and we'll put in a matching mate to it. Not a difficult basket, just takes time. Take it step by step. Kind of a fun basket to make. I know I say that a lot. I think they're all fun. Okay, now that we have our ribs in and it looks pretty good, I might have to add, after I divide this up and do a couple rows on each side again, I might find another space that's a little bit too wide, rather than the 2 fingers distance that we need, so I'd need to add a couple more. I may need to add another one in here, for instance. That's about 4 fingers distance. But I'm going to switch to a basket that I've already got the ribs all added. These are a pretty good distance apart. I have done 6 rows, and count your rows up here. Make sure you've done 6 on each of the 4 spots here. Then take out a piece of your 1/4 inch, and we're going to start at one side of the basket, and we're going to loop it over the center rim, just like this. taking one side. Now I make sure, come back to this pattern, I am over this way and I'm coming out over here on the left side. So I want to make sure that this one also comes out at the left side so that my pattern will come out. So when I've checked that, I'm going to take this one right down the center. Do you remember in the egg basket we have to create this path? Well, in this basket we're creating the path first. And I'm going to work it to the other side. It's going to slip off the center, so just come back and adjust it. Keep that piece about in the center of each one of your ribs. We're going to come up here and we're going to loop this behind. Now I have to double check here. When I come over, I have to, my right side is under over here. My left side is under and my right side, so I have to make sure I bring this back to the right side, just like we did on the other one, so that I'm going in the right direction. Okay, now I'm going to come back here, pick up this other piece here. I'm under, so I have to be over, and I see a mistake. I've went over 2 here. So we can correct that real simple by taking this one behind and then this one over. And again, I have to check. When I'm over, I'm on this side. On this basket, it's easy to find your mistakes and correct them. And I'm going to weave this down. Keeping these 2 center pieces in the middle of the basket. And we're going to weave this down. Now I'm going to have to, I'm coming up over this one, which means I have to go this way when I come out here. And that makes my pattern every other one. Keep on weaving this center pattern. Here I have to add a new piece. Come in here and line this up. Overlapping. It's good to overlap about 4 if you can work it out. Sometimes on this basket it's a little difficult. I'm going to hold this right there until I get going. Working back and forth. Now let me show you the next basket where we've got our center path more completed. What I've done here, here's my center path. I've been working across here. And over here on the sides, I've worked them down, making turns here as I needed them. Take the clip off here. Until I get, so I'm going straight across here. Then come back to your path, and you're going to work this back and forth until we get to the other side. It's really easier on this basket if you work with short pieces, maybe 5-6 feet long, rather than working with real long pieces. They get frayed so easy, going in and out. We're going to come up here. Now this basket has an exception to our rule. We are going to turn twice at times on the same rib, like I'm doing here. Now there are 2 here. And we're going to work this piece back. Keep working this back and forth. I'm going to run out. Remember, we're going to get a new piece and we're going to add and go back about 4. If possible, it won't always be possible to do that. And we're going to weave this back and forth. Now this piece is kind of long here. I think I'm going to take a second and snip some of it off. It's really too long to work with. Okay. And again, we're going to keep working these back and forth, coming up here where I need to do some more turns. I'm going to scooch these back, keep pulling these back And here again, I'm going to have to do a double turn on this one. Come around and reach inside, put it up in there, and pull it through. Try never to make more than 2 turns. Keep working this back and forth until this is all filled in. When you get done, it'll look like this side here. To finish this up, you'll have your weaves tight together. I'm going to come in here and pull this one through. This length here I'm going to cut off because I know I won't be able to turn and go again. And I have a long length here. I know I won't need that much, so cut that one off too. Weave right on top of the piece to end it. Right on the top of the piece coming from the other direction. You'll have to work it in there. Pull it through. Weave it one more. I can see I'm not going to be able to work it through there, so I'm going to come in here and cut my length off and simply stick that end in there, and then you're finished. You'll finish the other side exactly the same way as I just showed you, and keep, just work back and forth on it. The basket we'll be working on in our next program is our laundry basket. Has some handle. This is kind of new, working on the handles this way. It's a good and sturdy basket. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.